when I was reading, I actually was diagnosed with dyslexia. So reading for me as a child was super difficult. I always had trouble maintaining my interest. I didn't realize why I was frustrated all the time, but for me, books that were most important ended up being graphic novels. As I got older, I realized that it was an art form. I think that one that opened a book in particular that was in sort of the graphic novel category for me was Mouse. It's a book about World War II told in a graphic novel form in a different sort of pseudo fantasy, realistic fantasy context. It was Art Spiegelman, who's become a connoisseur and an advocate in his own right for the art form. And it wasn't until that book came out in particular that I saw that that graphic novels and sort of alternative literature was an art form in itself that was deserving of respect. And it wasn't really until then that the literary world in particular felt that way as well, at least in my opinion. It's something that, for me, Mouse was a book that I could really dive into. Again, I was older at this point with critical theory, and I think that it opened up something of, an appreciation of literature in a way that I never ever really had before. And by then I had come up with different coping mechanisms and, had gotten around my own frustrations around reading and my own disability. But I think that when people are offered something different and that they treat it with the same reverence as something else, I think that it kind of validates you. It validated me as a person, like, okay, this is something I could do. I mean, nowadays I'm sitting and, reading Philip Roth and Slavoj Žižek. I've come a long way since, but if I didn't have those opening gateways, especially with Mouse in particular, like, I probably wouldn't have looked at literature the same way. And it wasn't until I was suggested by somebody to try something different, switch up the media, or find something that I wouldn't otherwise be looking at, that I could start accessing literature. It's actually why it's been so important to me as an educator to find different avenues for my kids to access literature in their own ways. And that's not always easy. There's many different learning styles, and it's something that I had to learn firsthand. If I didn't have that teacher who pushed me to look somewhere else and to expand my horizons, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today. And I certainly wouldn't have gone to college or become an educator. So I'm always looking for alternatives for my kids because I knew how important it was for me to pay it forward.